So you had the review that was due this morning. I will work out any questions you guys want to see from that review momentarily. Now this morning, I also posted this additional review. This is optional. It is on your to-do list. It's not in the module yet. I will move it there. However, if you notice in the description, it has the letters NG, so it's not graded. It's got the blank copy like this, and then it also has another link that has the answer file. Now, just like last night's homework, it just has the answer. It does not have the work. So if you get stuck on anything and you want help with it, you can come see me in the morning. I have office hours if there's any questions that you don't understand, or you can even email me tonight. So this is optional. There's a page for each. Now I'm going to go through it and I'm going to tell you some things that we did not cover that you can remove. So if you want to open this up so you could take notes on it, that's up to you, or you could just write it down as I go through it. Now tomorrow's test will be multiple choice. There are 20 questions on it and you can use your calculator. You need to memorize all the formulas. I'm not giving you a formula sheet. So all the formulas that we covered through from section 1 to section 6, you need to memorize. I'm going to give you back the quizzes. You can use those to study. Now, keep in mind that don't always focus just on a review. Always remember, go back. You can use your warm-ups, your notes, and your homework as additional resources to study for the test. So in section 1, this is where we learned about circumference and also about arc length. We also learned how to convert from radians to degrees and degrees to radians. So the formulas that we covered in section 1, remember, were circumference, which is pi times diameter, and 2 times pi times the radius. We also learned the arc length formula, and this is if you were to take a piece of pizza and cut off the crust and measure it, that is what's considered the arc length. And that's going to be the measure of the arc over 360. And now what's going to get multiplied to this fraction is either going to be capital C, if they give you the circumference already calculated, or you could also replace that capital C with just pi d or 2 pi r. So these are the 3 different variations of the formula for arc length. So either you're going to replace and use either the C, the pi d, or the 2 pi r, and then multiply it by the measure of the arc over 360. We also learned how to convert from degrees to radians. So for example, if you have 180 degrees and you want to convert that into a radian measure, what you're going to do is use the conversion, 180, and you're going to multiply that degree by pi over 180. Notice the 180s would cancel, and in radians, 180 degrees is just pi. If you wanted to go the other way, from radians to degrees, we flip that conversion. So for example, if I gave you pi over 4 and I asked you to convert that into degrees, you're going to multiply it by 180 over pi. You flip these. So this would cancel the pi's, and then 4 goes into 180 45 times. So be able to convert from degrees to radians. Also be able to solve word problems, especially questions with revolutions in them, like this chain question, or any of the ones in the notes or in the homework. Then in section 2, page for each, this is where we started talking about area of circles. So the formula for area of a circle is pi times radius squared. And then we also learned the formula to find the area of a sector. And that was similar to the arc length. It's the measure of the arc over 360. So it's a portion of the whole circle. and then you're either going to times it by capital A if they give you the area already calculated, or if they don't, let's say they give you a radius, then instead you would put pi r squared there. So again, the measure of the arc, this is here, and 360. These are just two variations of the formula for area of a sector. Just like the circumference, the arc length had three different formulas. So be able to find any portion, any area of any sectors for the test, and again, be able to solve any word problems as well. Then in section 11.1 of this 3, this is where we learn to find the area of a polygon. We also learned the formula for area of a rhombus and area of a kite. That was not on the quiz, but it will show up on the test. So for rhombuses and kites, remember it's just 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. Or again, you could do D1 times D2, divide by 2. Then the formula for the polygon, remember it was either area equals 1/2 apothem times perimeter, or 1/2 times apothem times number of sides times side length. Because remember, this n times s is really just the perimeter. So those were the formulas that you needed from 11.3. There will be no SOHCAHTOA, no trig on the test. I know I said I was going to put it on the test, so that should be a clue that you're going to be getting the ones that use the special right triangles. So the hexagons, the equilateral triangles, and the squares. So we're not going to do SOHCAHTOA even though you're using your calculator. Then in section 4, sections that are going to, we did not do any of the rotation questions. So you can skip questions 4, 5, and 6. We did not cover any of those, as well as number 8. Now, on the quiz, there weren't any cross-section questions, but there will be questions on the test. So you just have to figure out what is the shape that would show up if you were to slice into the solid with a plane. So you're just looking at the dark. When I did it in the notes, it was the purple part, but since your test will be in black and white, it'll be the darker shade here. So like this cross section would be a triangle. And again, it's multiple choice. So you're just looking to see which shape and pick that choice. So also in 11.4, and it's not on here, but it was on the quiz, you need to be able to identify the number of faces, edges, and vertices given the solid. So also be able to do that. Identify however many faces are in the solid, vertices, and edges. And we'll go over this when we go over the quiz. Then in section to be on the test tomorrow, 5, this is where we learned how to calculate the volume of prisms and cylinders. So for a prism and a cylinder, the generic form is just BH. What will change depending on each solid is the capital B. Remember, this capital B is the area of the base shape. So if it's a triangular prism, it will be 1/2 base times height, because the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. If it's a cylinder, the bottom shape is a circle. So it's pi r squared, and then times the height of the cylinder. So know all the variations for prisms and cylinders. Also be able to do questions like here where they give you that the two solids are similar and find the scale factor and then cube it for the volumes. Also be able to do composite pictures as well as word problems. Then tomorrow, section 11.6, this is where we talked about the pyramids. So it's very similar to the volume of the prisms, except for we have the 1/3 in front of the BH. Again, the capital B here represents the area of your base shape. Again, be able to do the similar solids for pyramids and also be able to do these composite figures where you're going to be putting two solids together. So that's a little bit of an overview of everything you need to know for tomorrow's test. Again, 20 questions, multiple choice. Some of the multiple choice questions ask you to leave your answer in terms of pi. So all you need to do is look at the answer choices. Some of the questions will round to the tenths place, some will round to the hundreds. Again, you don't have to ask me tomorrow, just look at the 4 answer choices and they'll all be rounded to the same place. So again, 20 questions, multiple choice. I'm going to be giving you a Scantron and the test. You can write on the test, but your answers must be recorded on the Scantron. Whatever answer is bubbled on the Scantron is the answer that's getting graded. If you circle on your test paper answer choice A, but you bubble B, and the correct answer was A, it's wrong because you did not bubble A, you bubbled B. So whatever is bubbled is what gets graded. This is how an SAT or an ACT is graded. You can't put down 2 answers and hope that you're going to get it right. Same thing when you bubble. You can't bubble 2 circles. As soon as you bubble 2 answers, it's automatically wrong. So just make sure you're bubbling 1 answer only on each line. You can use your calculator. Again, you're memorizing formulas. There is no partial credit on a multiple choice test. So it's all or nothing. If you start to run out of time, bubble something. Take a guess. Like if you have 2 questions left and the time's running out, pick a letter and guess. That's the strategy you should always use when you're taking a standardized test. Never leave anything blank when it's multiple choice. Also keep in mind, if you come to a question that you just blank out on and you don't know how to solve, don't sit there for 15 minutes staring at the question. Skip it. Maybe bubble an answer and keep going. But just remember to go back and maybe you'll remember how to solve it. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to give you back your quizzes. We're going to go over them and then I'll answer any questions from the review that was due this morning. And I'll also work out anything from this practice B if you've already started looking at it. Maybe you got 100 on your quiz and you want to start doing these. You can do that. And if you get stuck on anything, let me know.